Good evening, Commissioners. We'll begin this meeting of the Clovis City Commission. We'll start this evening with a word of prayer and then go into honoring our flags. If you would, please pray with me. Our God in heaven, we thank you and praise you for the many blessings that you give us each day. Father, we thank you for the blessing that it is to live and work and serve in this wonderful city and community. And God, we pray for your goodness and joy, and especially your peace and prosperity to sweep across our community and bless our residents. We thank you for the privilege it is to serve our fellow citizens as elected officials. We thank you for those that have served and are leaving the commission, and we thank you for those new commissioners that have come on. And Lord, we pray that you would guide us and make us wise managers and good stewards of the city's resources this evening as we discuss the business. And it's in the name of Jesus that I pray. Amen. Amen. Please join me in honoring our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of New Mexico, the Zia symbol of perfect friendship among united cultures. Our meeting is called to order. Ms. Reyes, would you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Jones?
Here.
Commissioner Bryant?
Here.
Commissioner Casals?
Here.
Commissioner Porter?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Bryant?
Here.
Commissioner Garza?
Here.
Commissioner Rowley?
Here.
Commissioner Paula? Here. Mayor Morris?
Here. Thank you, Ms. Reyes. Appreciate that. Commissioners, next is approval of the agenda.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented if there's no changes.
Second.
Appreciate that. We have a motion and a second. However, I wonder if we would consider taking item 1 under new business, off of new business, and adding it to the consent agenda.
I'm okay with that change.
Okay. Okay. Unless there's any further discussion, Commissioner Garza, would you like to make the motion again?
Yes, sir. I make the motion to approve the agenda with changes.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. Motion for approval from Commissioner Garza, second from Commissioner Casals. Commissioners, please vote. And by a vote of 8-0, the motion is carried. Thank you. Tonight's agenda has been approved. The next item of business is appointment of Mayor Pro Tempore. After each municipal election, the very next commission meeting, our city charter says the commission will appoint the Mayor Pro Tempore.
Mayor, I make a motion to appoint Commissioner Bryant to the position of Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay. Is that Commissioner Chris Bryant?
Commissioner Chris Bryant.
Okay.
He's not a Mayor Pro Tem yet.
Correct. Okay, so we have a motion to appoint Commissioner Chris Bryant
Second.
to the petition of Mayor Pro Tempore, and the second came from Commissioner Paula. Is there any further debate or discussion? Commissioners, please vote. And by a vote of 8-0, the motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Mayor Pro Tem Bryant.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it, and I want to thank the commission for their support, and I'm proud to be serve as Mayor Pro Tem.
Well, we appreciate your willingness to serve there, and I can tell you that I value you in that role and the support that you provide me. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Mayor.
you, sir. Next is approval of minutes. We have the minutes from the March 17th, 2021, or excuse me, that was this year. March 17th, 2022 meeting. and those minutes are in your packet. If you've had a chance to review those, I would ask if there's any corrections. If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Motion for approval from Commissioner Garza, second from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. What is before you is the approval of the minutes from the March 17th, 2022 meeting. Commissioners, please vote. And by a vote of 8-0, the motion is carried. Thank you. Next is recognition of visitors. And we have several visitors with us this evening here in support of the various presentations that we have. And we look forward to hearing from you when we reach the point in the agenda that you're here to share with us on. And we certainly thank those of you from the public that have joined us to track what your city commission is doing, as well as support the commissioners that we're recognizing this evening. Thank you. Next is proclamations, awards, and presentations. And we're going to spend a little time here this evening as we have several presentations. We held a reception prior to this meeting in recognition of Commissioner Madrid, Commissioner Elliott, and Commissioner Burns, who are all three leaving the commission. And during the reception, we said nice things about them because they because they have made themselves available to serve their fellow citizens and serve the city for many, many years. And we need to continue that recognition with one more presentation for each of them. And in order to do that, I think what I'll do is head down to the podium.
We can hand them to you.
Yep.
Okay, well, I'll take this first one.
Okay.
I'm going to handle this one first. Thank you for that support. Commissioner Madrid, would you come up? Commissioners and members of the public, during the reception, I mentioned to everyone that was in attendance and Commissioner Madrid that he served the commission for 12 years. And during that time, he attended and in many cases ran countless committee meetings, board meetings. He represented the city in the Municipal League. He also served as the chairman of Eastern Plains Council of Governments for 8 years.
8 years.
8 years. You were also the District 4 representative for the league for 8 years.
Yes, Parks for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then most of the time I served chairman of the Parks for almost 12 years.
Also chairman of the Parks for nearly the entire time you were on the commission.
Right.
And I asked him to think about perhaps if he knew how many phone calls he took during 12 years. And have you been able to tally that up?
Quite a few,
well,
And most of them, when you meet people downtown, this one they get, you know what, I'm having trouble with this. I'm having trouble with that. Okay.
Yep. Well, in the course of 12 years, you have given a great gift to your fellow citizens and to this community in the form of your time and your talent, your energy, and your caring. And the city of Clovis is grateful. I'm grateful to have had the chance to serve with you for 2 of those years. And in recognition of your service and with heartfelt thanks from a grateful community, I would like to present you with the key to the city. And keep in mind, everyone, the key to the city is not a presentation that we just give out willy-nilly, right? We reserve this for special occasions, and someone that has the key to the city can come back anytime they're ready. Of course, you're not going anywhere. You're staying here. You're going to continue serving the community.
Yes.
But now you have the key, and I'd like to present you with the key to the city.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I do want to say something, Mr. Mayor.
Please, Commissioner.
Yes, Commissioner Madrid, you're going to be missed. Thank you for your service to this community and your contributions and your help to improve the parks is greatly appreciated. Thank you, sir.
like to thank all my constituents for having the honor of serving you guys. Thank you very much, and it was an honor serving with all of you. I served with a lot more commissioners than just you guys, so it was really an honor. It was nice meeting all the people all over the state, and it's really a good feeling when you meet all these people around the state. You meet different mayors, different councilmen, different commissioners. So thank you for the honor of serving.
Fidel, I'll just mention that it's been a pleasure serving with you, and I'll always value our friendship, even though you threw me under the bus during the reception.
Speaking about bus,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Madrid, over here. I'm gonna miss serving with you, and I'm gonna miss your smile. You always have a smile on your face at every meeting, so
Yeah.
we're gonna miss you.
No use frowning. And I want to thank Claire and I want to thank Justin and all their help, for all their help that they gave us. And Vicky, I want to thank you too, and Kelsey, and everybody in the city, all the department heads and all that. They all did a good job for us. So thank you very much. And the city workers, I'd like to especially thank them. All the people that work for the public works, for the refuse, and all the firemen, the policemen, and everybody. I want to thank each and every one of you for the job you guys do. Thank you.
Next, Commissioner Elliott, would you come forward, please? Commissioner, you served on the commission 2 terms, 8 years?
8 years.
8 years. And during that time, I know you served on many boards and committees as well.
Parks and Rec,
Parks and Rec,
Public Works.
Public Works,
It
yep.
was a pleasure.
Yep. Well, we certainly appreciate your service during the course of 8 years. You lent your time and talent, which is a wonderful gift to give to your fellow citizens and to this community. And I am personally grateful to have had the chance to serve alongside you. I admire your character and your resolve. And I think of the multiple occasions that I had the opportunity to not only serve with you here in this room and in meetings, but out in the public when you went to citizens' homes to hear their concerns and help them address concerns and problems they were having in their neighborhood. And you allowed me to tag along with you to do that. And I learned from you as we did that. And I am grateful for those opportunities. And in recognition of your service, I am very proud to present you with the key to the city.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Okay, yeah, thank you, Mayor, and I served alongside David Lansford and Mayor Morris, and it was a pleasure, and I've served with you guys a lot. The city staff, all of them were so great to tell a kind of a greenhorn how to do things and how to work this and work that. Commissioner Rowley, my sister commissioner, I call her, in District 2. A lot of times when I couldn't make a meeting, she would be there. And anytime I called, she was there. And it's a wonderful district, isn't it, Commissioner
Absolutely.
Rowley? And I enjoyed serving the people. Had a lot of wonderful constituents, and they were almost always very kind, and they wasn't asking for anything out of the ordinary. But thank the city staff, the city workers, our fire, just first responders, the police. We are blessed to have that kind of help and service in this community. So thank you for letting me serve for 8 years. I enjoyed it, and these guys, sometimes we wouldn't agree on everything. That's surprising, isn't it? But we always went away being friends. So I love you, and I thank you, all of you. Appreciate it.
Okay, Commissioner Elliott, again, one of the things that you say, we didn't agree with some things, but your conservative nature is what made the commission a little more alert on what we were doing, and I appreciate that. So you will be missed. Thank you for your service to the community, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Garza. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Gary, thanks for your service. The citizens appreciate it, and we do too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Mayor Pro Tem. Sure do. Another thing I forgot to mention, these three guys on the end here, I appreciate them for going out and getting voted into the commission. I think we got three really good commissioners to replace the ones we had. Not that the ones we had wasn't all right. You guys are, you guys will be good, and I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Absolutely.
Commissioner Burns, would you come forward, please? Last fall, as you all know, and the public may,
It's working now.
they've got it hot now. Last fall, there was a vacancy on the city commission, and we took applications to fill that vacancy, as you know, and for the public's benefit, there was a vacancy on the commission, and Mr. James Burns stepped up. He put his hand up and said, "I'll do it," and we're so glad that you did, and it's a great gift that you gave the community to make yourself available. You've got plenty going on. You didn't have to do that, but you did, and in the short time that we worked together, I had the chance to get to know you a whole lot better and understand why you did it. And it's because you care about this community and you care about our neighbors at Cannon Air Force Base. And we were privileged to have you serve, and I learned from you. And I know that this commission and the public is appreciative, but personally, I thank you for your service. And in recognition of your service and with heartfelt thanks of a grateful community, I'm presenting you with the key to the city.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
You bet.
Thank you for your comments.
You bet. We'd give you the opportunity.
Yeah, I want to thank you, commissioners, for voting me in and allowing me to serve for the few months that I did. I learned a tremendous amount. I hope that what little contribution I did was beneficial to the city, and I hope you will continue to operate as well as it has been operated. Thank you.
Commissioner Burns, yes, again, thank you for your willingness to serve this community. You serve a short time, but that was enough to make a difference on how we do business, and we appreciate that.
Thank you.
We'll miss you. Thank you, sir.
James, thank you. I appreciate you stepping in, and you did a great job while you were here. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Commissioners, next we have another very special presentation of Plaque to Captain Alan Silvers, and to share with us and speak to that this evening, Chief Nolan. There he is. I scanned the room and found him. Chief Nolan.
Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. So tonight, we get to kick Alan out. 25 years, 8 months, 8 months and a little more.
I didn't worry about the dates.
You didn't want the days, so Alan came to work for the fire department July 10 of '96. Just in case you didn't know that. Okay. It gets to you after a while. The last 15 years spent as our fire marshal, and we're very appreciative of that. The main job of the fire marshal is code enforcement laid out for protection of firefighters. responding to calls, and to the public. The previous 10 years he had hired on, before fire marshal was protection of the public and the fire department members. So it's a little bit of a reverse role. I'm surprised the room's not completely full tonight of all of the individuals in the city wanting to see Ellen leave.
Hopefully they're not waiting.
Well, you know, that's the truth. Alan's been kind of tough on a bunch of businesses, but he's also well appreciated. And I noticed that part of the room back here, his family is present, and including Ms. Karen Burns, my previous EMS director. But if we could, for the presentation, could we have them come up?
Certainly. Please do.
The whole row there. And the reason I ask that, Alan is a family man, and this family has supported him from day one. And I want all of them included in the picture, too. So with that said, Faye, would you have any words?
No, just thank you for everything, Alan. And as a fellow veteran, thank you for welcoming me into the Clovis Fire Department.
And would you have any words? You can. It's your chance.
Oh, yeah. I'm just going to say it has been a pleasure. It has been difficult at times. A lot of people don't like to be told what to do, and I understand that. I'm one of those people. But the cooperation between the fire department and the business owners has always worked out eventually, and it's all for the purpose of just making everybody have a safer community, as well as just the buildings that we all go into, and we may not think about some of those things. So I appreciate the award. I appreciate the time that you allowed me to serve and kept me on and didn't fire me. But I just am grateful. I thank you very much.
Thank
Captain
you.
Silvers, we thank you for your service. 26 years, you did an awful lot for the community, and on behalf of the citizens and this commission, I want to thank you for dedicating your career and all of those years to the city of Clovis. We are grateful for that. Commissioners, do you have comments?
I do. Captain, thank you for your service and your dedication to your department. I want to congratulate you on your retirement. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Mr. Silvers, I just want to say thank you for the service. I work with you and sometimes on the planning and zoning, and you were very instrumental on guiding us, advising us how to do certain things on some subdivisions, and that was on a safety issue for our citizens, and I appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
You're very welcome. And also want to make sure that I do thank my family for their support as well.
Awesome.
Didn't want to let that go.
Anyone else? Well, we have a plaque that we want to present to you, and we will pose for that photo that the chief insisted that everyone be a part of. We have a wonderful plaque. It's great that they're on hand. For everyone's benefit, the plaque has his dates of service, July 10th, 1996 to April 2nd, 2022, and it says, "Thank you for sharing your time and talent." In over 26 years, you certainly shared a lot of time and talent. We're grateful. Thank you for that.
My pleasure.
We'll
My
move
pleasure.
over here.
We need some new chairs.
Yeah.
Commissioners, next, we have a presentation of proclamation proclaiming April 2022 as Month of the Military Child. And here from Cannon Air Force Base this evening to receive this proclamation are several individuals. Mr. Rick Masters is here, as well as Ms. Sarah Williams. And if you all would like to come forward, as well as I remember the gentleman's first name is Malcolm. I'm sorry, we met earlier. If you would like to come forward as well, please. Thank you so much for being here. We're honored to have the opportunity to do this proclamation for you, and we would love to hear from you about the importance and the value of this, and anything else that you have going on, like, for example, the Purple Up program.
We thank you guys so much. We appreciate it, Mayor, Commissioners, for having us. We're really excited. Every year in April, we get to celebrate all of our military kids. And we do purple, not just because we're Clovis, but if you take all of the military branches and you put all the colors together, they form purple. So that is where the purple comes from. And throughout the month, we do lots of different activities. We do giveaways, events for the kids. They have questions that they get to put pictures up and comments every Wednesday. We have a creative art contest that's going on right now. The 22nd, I hope all of you, business owners, commissioners, everybody in the room, if you guys can wear purple on the 22nd, it is our statewide Purple Up Day for our military kids. If you wear purple at your business or just yourself and send me some pictures, we can share them on the Cannon Air Force Base page, my school liaison page, and then headquarters is also going to share them as well. And that just kind of shows our community supporting our military kids. And then on the 23rd, we're having a huge event on base, and we have entities from off base and on base coming, and they're going to do a whole bunch of activities and giveaways for the kids and just celebrate our children for the month. And we just kind of do that all month. It's an exciting month for us.
Sounds great. Sounds great. I look forward to participating in the Purple Up Challenge. That'll be great.
I love when he says challenge.
I guess I'm adding challenge to
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
let's make it a challenge.
Let's see how much purple we can get.
Let's just see how purple
We
we
should
can.
all have Clovis anyway, so we shouldn't
Right.
be a problem.
Right.
So, but with me, I have our Director of Staff, Mr. Rick Masters, and our new Child and Youth Flight Chief, Malcolm Waiters. So I invited them with us because I think they're a great representation of our base.
Well, I'm glad you did, and I noticed that you also have Dawn Jones from Public Affairs here this evening. Ms. Jones, you'd be welcome to come forward for the photo shortly here. And Ms. Williams, you've got another guest with you back there as well, right?
Oh, yes. So being a wife of a veteran, I get to make my kids do whatever I want them to do. So I have brought one of my children, and I have him wearing his purple shirt for last year was Embrace the Future, was our big logo that we used. So I gave him a shirt to wear, so he's up here representing our kids.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Well, I would love to share the proclamation, and afterwards I'll come down and present it to you. Whereas thousands of brave military members across New Mexico have demonstrated their courage and commitment to freedom by serving in the armed forces of the United States, both on active duty and in the National Guard and Reserves. And whereas the state of New Mexico is honored to work with our military installations, communities, and school districts to provide social, emotional, and academic support to children of service members as they transition between schools to address their needs. And whereas children and youth of our service members are major contributors to the fabric of strength for their parents serving in the armed forces. And whereas children and youth of our service members continue to make significant contributions to family, schools, communities, our state and nation, despite prolonged and repeated absences of one or both parents. And whereas these children are a source of pride and honor to us all, and it is only fitting that we take the time to recognize their contributions, celebrate their spirit, and let our men and women in uniform know that while they are taking care of us, we are taking care of their children. Now, therefore, I, Mike Morris, Mayor of Clovis, and on behalf of the Commission, do hereby proclaim April 2022 as New Mexico Month of the Military Child in the city of Clovis. Commissioners. Next, we have a presentation of proclamation proclaiming the month of April 2022 as Autism Awareness Month. Commissioners, the chairman of the Mayor's Caucus, Mayor Greg Hall from Rio Rancho, challenged all of the cities from around the state to do this proclamation. So I agreed and think it's important and poignant that we do so. So I would like to share the Autism Awareness Month proclamation now. Whereas autism spectrum disorder is a neurobiological disorder that interferes with the development of communication and social interaction skills, and whereas 1 of every 44 children born this year will later be diagnosed as having an autism spectrum disorder. And whereas more than 3.5 million Americans are currently living with an ASD diagnosis, making autism the fastest growing development disorder. And whereas autism is a lifelong condition that presents challenges to education, employment, housing, community development. And whereas early intervention, evidence-based practices, and proven support greatly improve the outcomes and reduce the lifelong costs of care of individuals with autism and their families. And whereas April is recognized as Autism Awareness Month in the United States, now therefore I, Mike Morris, Mayor of Clovis, and on behalf of the Commission, do hereby proclaim April 2022 as Autism Awareness Month in the city of Clovis, and commend the many professionals, families, advocates, and volunteers working to promote greater understanding of autism in order to improve quality of life for those affected by autism. Thank you. Commissioners, I'm going to call on Mayor Pro Tem Bryant for this next one, and it is a presentation of proclamation proclaiming April 2022 as Water Conservation Month.
Thank you, Mayor. Ms. Knight, where'd you go? There you are. Would you like to make any comments before I read the proclamation?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. Every April is Water Conservation Month, and it's so great to celebrate all of the wonderful things that the City of Clovis is doing to help conserve water in our community and build systems to ensure a future sustainable water source as well. This year, we are trying to put water conservation everywhere. We have booths out at City Hall and the library. We're running radio ads that were organized by some of our local kids from the I Academy, which is really fun. Press releases, things on Facebook, really trying to spread water awareness. We're also participating this year in the 2022 Wyland Mayor's Challenge, where the community can go to mywaterpledge.com and pledge to conserve water, and the communities that receive the most pledges per percentage of population can win some awesome prizes for their community. So definitely encourage everyone to go out and vote or pledge to conserve water. So thank you.
Thank you. Kelsey's our marketing director for the city of Clovis, does a wonderful job, so we kind of depend on her to get the word out about water conservation. And she pretty well said it all. Conservation is so important to our community, and we need to continue to remind all our citizens of the importance of it. And even though April is Water Conservation Month, this has to become a way of life for all of us, and conserving water and making sure that we continue to have a sustainable water supply. So I will read the proclamation. Whereas water is a basic and essential need of every living creature, and the scarcity of water in the arid climate of the high plains, together with the depletion of the Ogallala aquifer, has made addressing the water needs of our area a top priority. And whereas action taken to address the need to provide a sustainable future water supply to our area homes and businesses include the U Pipeline Project, Water Reuse Project, Water Conservation Plan, and water education programs. And whereas during Water Conservation Month, the City of Clovis seeks to increase awareness about the importance of water conservation by providing information regarding ways to conserve water, water conservation plans and programs. And whereas Every business, industry, school, and citizen can help make a difference when it comes to conserving water and promote a healthy economy and community by saving water.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Now therefore, I, Mike Morris, Mayor of Clovis, and on behalf of the Commission, do declare April 2022 as Water Conservation Month in the city of Clovis. And I call upon each citizen and business to help protect our precious resource by practicing water-saving measures and becoming more aware of the need to save water. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelsey. And thanks again, Mayor Pro Tem. Commissioners, we are on to receipts of petitions and communications, and we have several presentations planned here this evening. But before we get to those, I wanted to take this opportunity while we're in public comment to recognize and congratulate Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Porter, Commissioner David Bryant on your election. You're having been sworn in. Earlier today, your picture was taken, so this is official. Here you are. But I wanted to congratulate you men on winning your election, but thank you for making yourselves available for service to your fellow citizens and to the city of Clovis. And I'd love to give you the opportunity to say anything you like at this point. Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say thank you, and I'm looking forward to serving my constituents as well as the city of Clovis.
Thanks. Commissioner Porter.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. It is a real honor, and I want to thank the community for voting for us, and I take this very seriously, and I'm excited about the opportunity to be able to serve Clovis and move Clovis forward. And my phone number is listed on the website, so if you guys want to talk to me, please feel free to give me a call.
Sounds great. Commissioner David Bryant.
I also, Mayor, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. Look forward to serving with all of you. I look forward to representing the constituents in my district as well as the rest of the city of Clovis. I have some big shoes to fill, but I hope I do them well. Thank you.
Well, thanks for that. And once again, congratulations, man. Thank you for serving. Next, I would like to ask our partners from Epcor, Mr. Huerta, for an update on Epcor water. And you introduced me to your coworker there earlier. And yeah, very good. Well, Mr. Huerta, thank you, and we appreciate you coming here this evening to give us an update on Epcor.
Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners, with April being Water Conservation Month, just kind of want to take some time, talk a little bit about Epcor's conservation efforts. It's very similar to the efforts that the city has out there. So we do a lot of outreach in the form of bill mailers, radio ads, advertisements in water conservation, as well as other programs that we've had in the past that included outreach to doing water magic shows in some of the schools, and had committed to doing like a water carnival, which unfortunately COVID kind of put the kibosh on that. But we hope to get back to doing some of those programs and anticipate maybe possibly even be able to have that water carnival sometime in the spring of 2023. So looking forward to getting back to some of those kinds of things. And then one of the other big things that we do in regards to conservation is our rebate program. So for those that aren't familiar with that, we started that back in, I think, 2008 with rebates for the installation of low-flow toilets and also purchasing of high-efficient clothes washers. And then a couple years later, we introduced a landscaping rebate, which provides a rebate back to customers for taking out high water use turf and replacing that with xeriscaping rocks and things of that nature that are low water use. And then most recently, we added a rebate for water catch barrels, rain harvesting. And so that's our newest rebate that we currently have available. And this year, or not this year, but in '21, we were able to provide a total of 28 rebates back to customers. Majority of those were for toilets, and then landscaping was the second highest that we saw outreach for those programs. So those programs are all still available. So I encourage everyone to get onto our website where information on all those rebate programs is there for you. All the rebates come back in the form of a bill credit, so you have to be an active Epcor customer to be able to participate in those programs. But again, just wanted to get the word out there on those and continue to see interest in those rebate programs. And, you know, with conservation, you know, for me, I know we're seeing the efforts that we're doing are working. You know, we've seen over the 10 years, we saw a pretty significant decrease both in our max day demand and our average day demand. And really over the last 10 years, that stayed pretty static. So even though our customer count's gone up and we've grown a little bit, we still see the average day demand staying pretty much the same. And so that, I think, is a testament to our conservation efforts, the reuse program, and the things that the city are doing to cut down on the use of groundwater for irrigation and people just being water wise in the things that they do. So, you know, conservation is really a 365-day thing for us, like Commissioner Bryant was saying. So there's tons of information available on our website with conservation tips for both inside the home, outside the home. There's leak audit kits that you can request to help you find leaks within your homes, most usually in toilets. And then also retrofit kits so you can replace your shower heads with low flow shower heads, low flow hose nozzles for outside watering, aerators and things of that nature. So all that information is available on our website, and just really encourage people to go there and to search those out. So, and then lastly, just kind of an update, you know, over 2 years ago now, we closed our doors to the public, much like many businesses. And in past meetings, I told you that Epcor was taking very cautious approaches as to how we reintegrate our staff back in and start to open things back up to the public. But having said that, I just wanted to say that we are moving towards opening our office back up to the public. We are putting some measures in place, some extra safeguards and protections for our employees. But if everything goes well, we anticipate being open, you know, as early as next Monday, but we're really shooting for next week to be able to get the offices open back up. And we just want to say that I appreciate everybody's patience during this time and understand, you know, kind of the inconvenience that it probably caused a lot of folks with us being closed, and just hope that everybody understands the reason behind that. But we do look forward to opening our doors back up and being able to serve customers in that way. But also would like to still encourage folks to utilize things like online bill pay. We have an app. They're very convenient and a good way to do anything from set up a service order to, of course, pay your bills. So while we will be opening back up, I still want to encourage folks to utilize some of those other resources that are available to you.
Very good. Well, thank you for the update as far as how it is that your company is providing customer service for payments and so forth. But certainly appreciate the information about rebates. Those are always good reminders. And information about all of that is on your website, I think you mentioned. Is that right?
That is correct.
Yeah. So the public, as we talk about water conservation and the different things that residents can do, a good resource is Epcor's website, and look at the many rebates available. Those are improvements or changes to your home or property that you may be planning to make anyway, and then could benefit from the rebate. Epcor is a large utility provider with a lot of resource and expertise, and I think we're very fortunate to have Epcor providing water to the residents of our city, and so we're grateful for that. Could I put you on the spot? You talked about peak day demand or average day demand. What is that running?
So our average day demand right now is about 5.5 million gallons a day.
Okay. All right.
And, you know, our peak day, so for last year, I think our peak day was just under 9 million gallons. So if you look 10 years ago, we had peaks of over 10 million gallons a day that we would see. And when I see peak day, that is just that. It's a one-day event where we see our highest water usage for that year. So, but it's good to see those peak day demands come down. It's good to see that our average day demand is staying, steady in regards to even with the growth. And just to throw another figure out there, so, back 10 years ago, the average household was using about 105 gallons per day. And as of 2020 was the last numbers that I was able to find, it's down to about 84 gallons a day. So that's just another kind of sign of how conservation, people being water wise, thinking about, hey, am I turning my faucet off while I'm brushing my teeth? Am I, making sure I'm not watering my yard when the wind's blowing? Am I following the odd and even number of watering days, which again, that's another thing that we ask, and no watering on Mondays. So things of that nature. So we see that all those efforts are working, and just encourage everyone to keep that on their minds.
Well, as we work, thank you for that, Mr. Huerta. As we, as a community and partners across the community, work to rise up to face the challenges that we have with water, some Mayor Pro Tem Bryant alluded to in introducing the proclamation earlier. I think, again, I just want to say how fortunate I believe we are to have Epcor as our utility provider for water, because your company is first class and does a great job for us. Commissioners or Mayor Pro Tem, comments or questions for Mr. Huerta?
Mark, I completely agree with the mayor, but all good information. All good information. How many wells right now are online?
We've got just over 80 wells, 84 wells.
84.
That are in our system, yes.
Okay. Is there any plans for future development?
Always.
Okay.
Always. We're engaged in some that we're working on right now and future ones. So yes, that's an everyday thing for us.
Could you also ask your coworker to come up and introduce him to the commission, maybe his role with Epcor?
We want to make sure we know where to complain to, Kendall.
So this is Kendall Mudgett. He joined us in December, I believe, of last year as our operations specialist. So he'll be doing a lot of work for us in regards to water supply and development and public outreach. So I'm happy to introduce him.
Just like you said, my name is Kendall Mudgett. It's been a good opportunity to join Epcor. They've been good to work for so far, and I look forward to the future, and I'll probably be seeing a lot of y'all before too long.
Sounds great, Mr. Mudgett. Appreciate you.
I just want to say, thank you for all the complimentary stuff up there. We greatly appreciate it, and we've enjoyed, being able to serve this community and the partnership and cooperation that we have with the city of Clovis. So we look forward to serving for many years to come.
Same here. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Kendall.
Next, under communications, we do have a planned presentation from Senator Ben Ray Lujan's field representative, Ms. Constance Williams. Ms. Williams, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much, Mayor Morris. Thank you, Commissioners, Mayor Pro Tem, and I just wanted to say congratulations to all of you who are now on the commission. I know I just met most of you last week, so congratulations. Alrighty, so as Mayor Morris said, my name is Constance Williams. I'm a licensed master social worker and also the field representative for Senator Lujan. My office is in Portales. I'm a resident of Clovis and really glad to have Mr. Porter as my representative and Mrs. Rowley as my representative as well. So I just wanted to come today because it is y'all's first meeting to kind of talk about what we do in the office and just kind of give you another resource to help you in your role as city commissioners. So if we can go to the next slide. I have worked for Senator Lujan. This is, I'm a few months into my third year. I started right at the beginning of, or maybe 4 or 5 weeks into the beginning of the pandemic, much like Mayor Morris, just kind of thrown into a lot and learning a lot. It's been a really great opportunity. I'm really glad to be a part of this team. Senator Lujan is from northern New Mexico. Most people don't know, but he's actually does farming. It's part of his family tradition, and he's on multiple different committees that are helpful, total of 5, and that's a lot for a freshman senator. With the Commerce, Science, and Transportation Committee, the HELP Committee, which is Health, Education, Labor, and Pension, Ag, Nutrition, and Forestry, and then the Committee on Indian Affairs. And so As a member on the Committee of Agricultural Nutrition and Forestry, I think that's really helpful, especially for Clovis, given our agricultural roots that we have here, and also the Help Education and Labor Committee. A lot of that has to do with K through 12 education, health. We're having a lot to deal with, COVID and just kind of the approach towards all of that. And so want y'all to keep that in mind when we talk about opportunities to try to build in legislative gains for our community. So we can go to the next slide. Part of our office's operations, there's a lot, but part of it is constituent services. Constituent services includes help with the federal agency, legislative correspondence, as you see, the federal grants, and then academy nominations. So generally speaking, the only thing that our office doesn't do is get involved in any type of legal matter. So if you're in court, child support, all that type of stuff, we won't get involved in that. But there's a lot of things that happen prior to getting into the court arena that we'll try to help constituents, navigate through the various obstacles that they may have. And so part of casework is constituents contact our office, let us know what they're dealing with, and we try to figure out which ways we can help. I've actually been really excited to be, like I said, a part of this team. Our office has, Senator Lujan has basically held constituent services as a major priority for his team. And so we actually, my constituent services manager, Pam, about maybe 3 weeks ago, a month ago, actually did a presentation for the House of Representatives on casework to try to, ultimately bolster up constituent services throughout the House of Representatives and Senate. And so our office is really, headlining a lot of that. We can go to the next. Alrighty, so this is some of the basic stuff, federal benefits, Social Security. Sometimes it's technical issues that prevent people from being able to gain their benefits, or maybe they're not getting as what they actually should. And so a lot of times, like I said, what we'll do, our process is to get a release of information from them, a letter about what the issue is, and then we make contact with whatever agency that it would be. And so as far as our office, I'm in 7 counties that I help work with. Quay County, Roosevelt County, Curry, DeBaca, Lee, and Chavez, and Eddy. And basically, like I said, there's just so many different ways that our office can help constituents. And so everybody's a constituent, Republican, Democrat, it really doesn't matter. Ultimately, what it comes down to is that we want to help people bust through whatever obstacles that they're having and help, ultimately alleviate stress. Stress can be such a big issue, and ultimately the last few years, has been a really stressful time in our country given COVID and everything else. And so any way that our office can help, we definitely will. And so I've had phone calls from different people saying, hey, Constance, can you help out on this? And, some people say, oh, this is little or this is big. But ultimately, like I said, as a social worker, I want to help people. And so that's, it's really good to have a senator to work for that actually, supports that, because not everybody does. So the next slide, please. So as I said, we need a privacy release, letter describing the concern. Sometimes people have a documentation. I actually met up with some constituents earlier today. The lady had paid off her Rocket mortgage, like $26,000 back in December, and had not received any additional, communication. And she was just really, upset and worried that she might have sent this $26,000 to some other place than, where she had been, paying for years. And ultimately we're able to make contact with them, see what's going on, and, help alleviate that stress. So as I said, we don't get involved in legal matters. You can go to the next one. So casework outcomes. Really glad, like this is our traditional PowerPoint, but really glad to have been directly involved with these casework outcomes. Like I said, different people call us for different reasons. If somebody's on disability and it's been a year and they haven't heard anything, we will make contact with Social Security. COVID did definitely slow down things, but there's also the need for responsiveness from agencies that our office expects and wants to help promote. And so, like I said, make contact with us and we'll make contact with them and try to figure it out. And so, let me see. So yeah, like I said, just really, since I've worked for Senator Lujan on the House side, and like I said, through the Senate, it's just been really great to see like government in action. Sometimes people think, man, government doesn't do anything. And, that can be the case at times, but also, sometimes it's subtle. And then sometimes there's great big, gains. But what I always, through my time at different agencies, I always notice that policy impacts people, and we really have to have good policy in place that works for people. And so I really commend Mayor Morris's words the other day at y'all swearing in, where he says, politicians get a bad rap because they're people that create policy, right? And so it's like, oh yes, it's not so easy to be in y'all's roles, and I really just commend y'all for stepping up into them, because it really is a sacrifice for your families. And like I said, I can't wait to see all the different gains that come from the City Commission, because I think that y'all have a really good, a really good perspectives and, experience. And so I'm really excited about this. We can go to the next one. All right, so another part of our office with constituent services is we do grants, and sometimes some people, I know that Claire sends it out to a lot of the direct department heads, and y'all may receive it as part of y'all's weekly communications with our delegation, but we have a designated grant coordinator for the delegation, and it's really unique because not all of most delegations don't have it. Our office does, or our state does. And so they will, if you have a grant or you have an idea of something and you want to see what type of funding might be out there, you basically complete this form, we'll send it to Lisa, and then she will look and see what's out there. And there's grants.gov, and these are some of the things that you can look at yourself, because it's all open source information. But also, like I said, it's good to have somebody who's kind of knows about the different programs that are going on and can kind of help hone in on what your needs and stuff are. Another thing that I think is really important for constituents just in general, but as commission members, are CRS reports. So there's a really great department, I guess you would say, it's Congressional Research Services. And basically what they do is they do research on whatever it is that you may need. And so as, trying to learn about different things within the federal government, if there's any time that you're like, Constance, hey, what's going on with this type of issue, or it's kind of the breakdown of grants that we get into the city or something of that nature. I'm sure Claire could find that, but you also can find it as well. And like I said, CRS reports create a whole bunch of different, like I said, it's just a whole plethora of information. And I actually printed out some one that's a report that's constituent services overview and resources that I'll give to Claire that you can have for yourself, and like I said, read through some of the different things that we do. Let me see if we can go to the next one. All right, so our office locations, I think that it's lovely that we have an office in Portales. A lot of people don't realize that there is a Senate office, and there is one. We have Las Cruces, Las Vegas, Santa Fe. Albuquerque is getting ready to open up in the next couple of, I think this next month. It's a really big lift to open up Senate offices, and so Albuquerque's coming online, and then of course we have our Washington, D.C. office as well. If we can go to the next one. All right, all of the different social media links that we have. The LujanSenate.gov is a really good, helpful resource, and that's one of the places that you would go to look at about congressionally directed spending. That's something that's going on in our office right now. Congressionally directed spending, another term is earmarks, and basically what they do is they are opportunities for nonprofit and local governments to ask our office or other delegation offices to help secure money for various projects that you have. Very lucky to have, in this last disbursement, or I guess allocation you would say, that was just signed in by President Biden, Clovis got $500,000 for the Lyceum Theater. And so that was, I remember Claire, Constance, hey, what's going on with this? And, sending in, submitting that and working with our office. And now there's, funds there to really make a huge difference to not only the community of Clovis and, the city, but, Clovis Community College, and just having that ability to have such a, state-of-the-art facility here. Also, like Representative Zamora was talking about the water weather stations. That's been a big issue that he's been championing. And with our office in New Mexico State, we got $1.7 million for weather stations. So that will be helpful for our area because there's not any weather stations right around here, and we really need to get one to have accurate reflection of, weather that's happening in eastern New Mexico. And so, congressionally directed spending, the deadline for that is going to be actually, we're set for April 15th. There are different committees that are kind of staggered out there, but if we can get notification from the entities that they're interested, what they're working on, what they're wanting to look at to submit that, then our office will work with them on committee deadlines and just trying to get this information in there. And so I've sent everybody on the commission, or to Claire and Justin, and I hope that they've disseminated it to y'all, and I can also send again. But basically, there's a process on our website that helps with the congressionally directed spending. You can call me, and I can help. And then also, we have a specific email that's appropriations@lujan.senate.gov that you can directly email about your questions, and we'll get you direct technical help on it. Let me see, is there one more or no? All right, so the other things that I just would like to mention are that Academy nominations have just opened up this week. It's been 2 years since we had one from Clovis, but I'd really like to encourage anybody who is interested, military or not, in going to a service academy to make contact with our office. It's a really great opportunity to gain some exposure in the military realm, and like I said, service nominations, there's only certain ways that you can get there, and so our office would really like to help you with that. Let me see. Then the last thing I'd like to talk about is usaspending.gov, another open resource for all of you commissioners to look at. I would always like to encourage more participation in different funds and things that are available out there. And just looking at over the last 10 years or so, there's not a huge amount of grants that are actually coming into Curry County. Some counties are a little bit less. I would say that we're doing very well compared to a lot of other rural communities. But if we can start utilizing these federal funds in conjunction with state funds to address some of these programs, different goals that we want to do here in the community, I think that there's funds out there. It's just a matter of tying that together and kind of leveraging that. And so anything that you're interested in, please let me know. I'll say, hey, if I don't know, I'll definitely find out for you, because there's so much in federal government that, it's very hard to pinpoint down one thing and be just a specialist in that. So if you would like me to do a constituent services presentation to any of your groups that you're a part of, please let me know. We can go more in depth, but basically, like I said, it doesn't matter about any type of political affiliation. It's just about helping people. And so I am a helper, and just really excited about everything that Clovis is doing, the behavioral health feasibility study as a social worker. I'm really excited about the potential for that. And actually I'm under supervision right now for a licensed clinical, licensed clinical social worker. And so hopefully by the end of the year, I'll be, solidified with that. And I'm the senator's behavioral health lead. And like I said, there's just a lot of things that are happening out here, and just really want to help. So if y'all need anything, please let me know. And most of y'all have my cell phone. If not, you can get it from Claire or Mayor Mike or anybody else who has it. And please let me know if you have any questions.
Ms. Williams, thank you for the presentation and for the update. And please pass along our thanks to the Senator for the support that he gives to Clovis and to our region. Notably, as of late, obviously his support of the Ute Pipeline project and the just tremendous amount of federal funding that we received on that. He was supportive and instrumental even in that. And then, as you mentioned, the funding for the theater. And I just wanted to comment that you called yourself a helper, and you absolutely are. You're doing good things that make a difference in our community. You and your husband, Mr. Jamal Williams, as well. I mean, you both serve on city committees, but you're both doing great things in our community. You're wonderful citizens and a great family that we're lucky to have in our community. and I just wanted to mention that. But I also wanted to say what a pleasure not only you are to deal with, but the senator's staff all the way up to his staff around him in DC is a pleasure. The city administration comments about what a pleasure the staff is to deal with, and I personally have seen that. And I'm always amazed when I've had the chance to interact with the senator at his just intimate, top-of-mind awareness of the priorities that we've expressed to him even in the past. You know, when I last talked to him, I didn't mention MLK, but he brought it up to me. You know, he knows that roadway needs to be redone, and he brought up the theater, and then of course the funding did come through. So we just appreciate the support, and thanks for the partnership that we have. Commissioners, Mayor Pro Tem, any comments or questions for Ms. Williams?
I think Mayor pretty well said it all. Thank you for what you do, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, ma'am.
Y'all
Appreciate
take
you.
care.
Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners, just for your information, Constance did mention the congressionally directed spending, and so we have definitely started to look at that, and obviously looking at our capital outlay requests from the last legislative session and those that didn't receive funding, and so, you know, on top of our list are improvements to Roy Walker. You know, we talked about the roof and the HVAC system that need to be improved there, as well as street lighting for our residential areas that don't have that street lighting. And so those two are on top of our list, and we'll continue to look for some other projects, but we are definitely planning to submit requests for those.
Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Howalt. Appreciate that. Next, I'd like to ask if Chief of Police, Chief Roy Rice, would you like to share with us an update on the police department this evening?
I'd love to. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Commissioners, Mayor. You know, it's kind of nice to be called in to be a filler because, you know, we have such a short agenda today. That we need to go ahead and get in. And I had a PowerPoint program I was going to give you, but I forgot the popcorn, so we're just going to dig into it. You know, I became your chief of police just a little over a month ago. And for the new commissioners, and welcome you and glad to see you here. The police department's been doing some very new things. We've been making some changes. I can't say innovative, I can't say energetic, but I can say it has been positive. We found positions that we had certified police officers filling that we could put civilians in. So we're rearranging our structure a little bit so that we can put civilian people to work and put our officers back out on the street. At the same time, we found that some of our officers had too many hats. I can't say overworked, but they had too many hats where they had to divide their time up and it was not been able to properly serve what they needed to be serving, and that means our people. So what we were doing, we got them some assistance, and I'm going to try to keep it short tonight because, again, I don't know what we're doing, but there's going to be some changes that I'd like to introduce all of you to come by, take a look at us. We have the training recruiting is coming back up into position where we're doing some concentrating, not so much on the training and recruiting as much as we are on retention. But that's where the energy is coming from. It's where the changes and the smiles are coming from. So as we go about this, we're seeing some new development. We're seeing growth. We have promoted 3 new sergeants in the last couple of weeks and reassigned them into positions that have put some hope for growth and improvement. As always, though, we're always looking for new blood. I've been sitting here listening to voices and modulations on the microphones tonight. We have some people here that need to be applying for dispatcher. So we are definitely in need for some dispatchers. But and the good news is we have put 4 new officers on the street in the last 3 months. We have 2 in the academy, and we have 3 in the in-house academy. And we have 2 on the line right now that we're doing backgrounds on. The officers, the applicants are coming back in. They are applying for the police department. We're getting better candidates. We're always asking for more, though. We need 18 more right now so that we be fully staffed. Our communication system is down 6 of them, and we need people who can type. I can't see anybody for typing, but I can hear the voices. And, of course, animal control is another area we're working in that we're making some headway there. We actually have 2 officers and a supervisor, and we've changed the hours just a little bit where we are open on Saturday mornings now. And this is coming at some cost, but they're looking forward to seeing what it can do for us. We need 2 more animal control officers. We need more volunteers. We need volunteers to come in and help the animal control. We've been working with Best Friends this week, and they've come in with some fantastic ideas on how to improve. They're wanting to help develop our people that we already have, but we heard good things from them as well about how quickly our people were learning and how they work together. And whenever we hear of agencies, and especially our own departments working together in the city, that says something about us. It tells something about the leadership. It tells something about our administration. And it tells something about you. Whenever these people are willing to work together and looking forward to coming to work every morning, it says something. I could ask for a few questions, but I understand. I would rather just sit there and say, we appreciate serving you. I appreciate you trusting me enough to come to you and do some service for you. And my phone's always open, and I'm always, well, I can't say I'm always there because I'm not. Thank you.
Well, Chief, thank you for that update, and we're very excited to hear about the positive changes and the energy that you're describing. And then Commissioners, the Chief did reference Best Friends. That's the organization that you approved coming in and doing an assessment on our animal shelter and animal control. And they gave us a briefing this afternoon, and we got some great ideas from them, and we'll be able to employ many of those right away, I believe. But Chief, thanks. Thanks for your positivity and your energy, and thanks for giving us a report this evening.
Thank you. Good evening.
Chief, I have one question real quick. I know you had a booth at the Home and Garden Show this last weekend.
Yes, sir.
What kind of response did you have as far as applications or anything like that?
We had some very good people come by that were showing a lot of interest in the police force. Our officers that were staying there asked them to come back in 10 years when they were of age. But as always, anytime we're out there like that, we do put a positive spin. You know, Home and Garden Show is not necessarily a place where you go recruiting, but we got some good feedback. We got some positive people that want to be a part of it, because just the fact that we were there, you know, they said, hey, you know, this is something that we weren't expecting. And of course, we got to sit beside some other positive people in the city administration that kept my guys awake. But whenever I went through, it's kind of nice. I sat up there at the top for a while and watched them all work and watched who combined visits with them, and they didn't even know I was there. So then I made the floor and walked around. It's also impressive how many people already know me. I mean, I've been hidden for 2.5 years, and I'm just now coming out of the office, and people already recognize me, and it's kind of fun to mess with them just a little bit, especially when they know we're supposed to know you, but who are you? So it was very good. The animal control was very well represented out there. Got a lot of feedback off of that too.
Yeah, it was good to see you all there. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Commissioners, we are still in receipts of petitions and communications, so I would like to ask if there's anyone from the public that has something they want to bring before this commission this evening. Anybody? Very well. We will move on then to the consent agenda. Commissioners, as you know, the consent agenda is placed on the agenda so that you, the commission, by unanimous consent, can designate those routine agenda items that they wish to approve or acknowledge by one motion. If any proposal does not meet with the approval of all commission members, or if a citizen so requests, that item will be heard when reached under the regular agenda. If you remember, in approving tonight's agenda, we now have 10 items on the consent agenda. The first is the motion to place, and the 10th is the motion to approve or acknowledge. I'll read 2 through 9. Item 2 is request for approval of adoption of ordinance number 2162-2022, changing an RS7 residential single-family district to a CG commercial general district. Said zone change includes lots 5 through 8, block 3, Clovis, original subdivision, address of zone 601 Wallace. Item 3, request for approval of adoption of ordinance number 2163-2022, changing an RS7 residential single-family district to an RS7C1 residential single-family carport overlay district. Said zone change to include lots 1 through 6, block 41 of the North Park subdivision. Address of zone change 804 Ross. Item 4, request for approval of adoption of ordinance number 2164-2022, changing an RS7 residential single-family district to an RS7C1 residential single-family carport overlay district. Said zone change to include lots 1 through 6 of block 31 Clovis Original Subdivision. Address of zone change 1221 East 10th Street. Item 5, request for approval for amendment to New Mexico Department of Transportation Grant CVN-21-07 to add an additional $93,860. Item 6, request for approval to apply for and accept if awarded the New Mexico Clean and Beautiful FY 2023 grant in the amount of $28,903.07. Item 7, request for approval of budget transfer of $42,195.69 to purchase a clutch server and multi-year support for the city of Clovis. Item 8, request for approval of renewal of Everbridge Nixle Engage Community Alerting System price agreement. Item 9, request for approval to appoint 2 representatives from the hotel industry to serve on the Lodgers Tax Advisory Board. Commissioners, that is your consent agenda. Unless there are any questions or concerns, I would entertain a motion to place the indicated items on the consent agenda by unanimous vote.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Garza, second came from Commissioner David Bryant. What is before you is the placing of these indicated items on the consent agenda. Commissioners, please vote. The vote is unanimous and the motion is carried. I would now entertain a motion to approve or acknowledge all items on the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Jones, second from Commissioner Garza. Commissioners, please vote. And the vote is unanimous. The motion is carried. Thank you. We are on to introduction and adoption of resolutions and ordinances. One item there, it is request for approval of adoption of resolution number 3111-2022, acceptance and approval of the FY21 audit. And to advise this evening is our Finance Director, Ms. Leanne Melanson.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners. This is our annual required resolution from DFA, our oversight. And Mr. Farley Veneer from Hinkle and Landers is on to go over, do his presentation, and then we'll be happy to answer any questions. And for our 3 new commissioners, afterwards you get to sign your first official document. So has to be signed by all of them, and then it'll be submitted to DFA.
Welcome, Mr. Veneer. Appreciate you being on this evening, and as it turns out, you've had to wait quite a while, so we thank you for your patience, and we'll give you the floor for your presentation. Mr. Venner, are you on with us? Mr. Venner, this is Mayor Morris, and if you're presenting, we aren't able to hear you. Maybe try unmuting or something. We can work on any technical difficulties, but we're ready for your presentation if you're ready to give it. I see him waving, but we can't hear him. Perhaps our IT folks would have a suggestion. We'll pause for a moment and see if we can have this corrected.
What's his phone number?
We're just going to try and reach out to him, Mayor, and Farley, if you can hear us, we're going to give you a call on your cell phone. And so we can hear you over that, and we'll just put that next to the microphone so y'all can hear it.
Great. Thanks for working on a workaround.
Presentation like that.
Stephen, if you can pull this presentation back up from the beginning, please.
Molly, go ahead.
Okay, turn down my volume. Okay, I am ready to go if you are ready to receive.
Yes, sir. Thank you for working with us on finding a way to make it where we can hear you. And thank you for your patience this evening. The floor is yours for your presentation.
Okay, I shall just get right to it. I am going to present the 2021 audit report. As it's required by the State Auditor's Office that we do a public presentation. And moving through the pages here, I'm Farley Benner, President of Hinkle Landers. And just explaining our scope of work, we are providing basically two audits. And one audit is the financial statements of the city.
Farley.
The other audit is the federal awards audit. It's commonly called the single audit.
Farley,
So,
you need to reshare your screen, sir.
okay.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. Great. Okay, so we are on the page where we just outlined the scope of our work, what we do as auditors. We are giving an opinion on the financial statements and on the federal awards, which is, we call it the single audit. So those two audits we do, we give an opinion on both those areas. The financial statements, we are looking at the financial records and determining if the financial statements are materially correct or not. While we do that, we assess the internal controls as part of our planning and part of our audit procedures. And there are some state audit rule compliance testing we do in this area. And so that's what is covered with the financial statement audit. And under the single audit or federal award audit, we test the expenditures of the federal dollars and select at least one major program, and it could be more than one, and determine if the city is in compliance with the expenditure of those dollars. And all this information rolls up into one report for commissioners, mayor, and any other elected officials. And also, it's for management, and the public can access this information from the state auditor's website. The results of the audit, well, part of the communications that we give is just to explain some of the certain details. One of them is the accounting practices. So the city is under GASB accounting standards, so government accounting standards, and there was a new standard that was implemented called Fiduciary Funds. So any funds that are held for others in an agency capacity there was a new presentation and a new interpretation of what is a fiduciary fund. So that was implemented. There was a little bit of a restatement due to that change. And then we just address how many adjustments we made as auditors. So we made 6 adjusting journal entries to the books and records. We proposed those. We believe that those were needed to get the records materially correct. We, the client, the city, made 19 adjusting journal entries while the audit was ongoing. Made one adjustment. There's a presentation called government-wide that we made one adjustment that does not go into the city's books. And then we have another item here called non-attest or non-audit entries. So these are entries that we make when we're assisting you with certain year-end closures. So it has to do with accounts payables and receivables, things like that you don't really use on a day-to-day, month-to-month basis, but you do have to have them for the year-end close and the audit presentation. Adjustments that were passed on that were immaterial that we could skip, but we'd have to disclose those to you. We had none of those. Disagreements with management, we had none. Management's consultation with other accountants, none that we're aware of. Discussion of certain items before we start the audit, no. Difficulties performing the audit, no. Estimates, so all financial statements of the size of a city have estimates. So the city's participating in PARA and retired health care, which is called OPEB. And so those allocations are considered an estimate when we put those numbers into the financial statements. Depreciation is another estimate when you estimate the expense for the useful life of a capital asset over its lifetime. Things that we would highlight in the notes to the financials would be how much in federal funding you received this year in 2021, the fiduciary funds since they're new and there's a restatement related to that, and a restatement in the economic development fund. So those were some of the highlights of the notes this year. And then the risks are every audit, for planning purposes, the auditors consider risk, and therefore areas that are just a little bit more complex or where things could go wrong, whether it's due to error or fraud, we have to look at those areas and determine if we are doing enough audit procedures, and where we identify significant risk, we just have to do additional procedures to mitigate that risk. So revenue, expenses, payroll all have a lot of entries, and they all deal with cash. So the level, from our standpoint as auditors, the risk of error and fraud is higher. So we do additional procedures. And that last item is called CFA, which is the federal dollars spent, schedule of expenditures of federal awards. That's a very complex, just tracking and making sure it's accurate. So we do a lot of extra work making sure that schedule is accurate. Moving on to page 7, here are the results of the audit. So the financial statements, the opinion we gave is unmodified or a clean opinion. So that's the highest level you can get, a clean opinion or unmodified. And findings, we had no material weaknesses. We had one finding considered a significant deficiency, no non-compliance related to the financial statements. On the federal awards, we gave an unmodified clean opinion as well, and no findings in that area. The major programs are the federal programs that we needed to audit. So you had 3 of them. There was more federal dollars than usual, as I think everyone's aware of. And so the programs that were audited was this, the coronavirus relief program, a wildlife restoration and basic hunter education program, and under DOT there was the formula grants, and then there was an additional amount given under that number 20.509 called COVID-19 the requirements are we really identify and keep it separate when it's COVID money. Auditee qualified as a low-risk auditee, so the answer is no. And so if you have 2 years in the past where you have material weaknesses or your data collection form is not sent in on time, those are some of the common things that can prevent you from being a low-risk auditee. And we'll see on these next slides that last year there was an issue with the data collection form. And this happens, what this data collection form means is there's a report called you send to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse, and you upload the report and disclose the findings and the opinions and things like that. So last year, I think there was some issue, I think, with the timing with the prior auditor, and that did not get submitted on time. This year, it's resolved. It is submitted already and done, so that's cleared out. Other prior year finding was called financial close and material adjustments, so that was resolved this year. In other words, did not repeat. The one finding that is new is called cash allocation to funds. So that was considered that significant deficiency that we reported earlier. So that was the one finding the city has us here, and it's considered a financial statement finding, not a federal award finding. Moving on to the trends. So we have 5 years of trends, and so we just do a quick look at the balance sheet of the city, and we see $202 million in assets. The liabilities are at $68 million, and so the equity is at $133 million. And be aware that these numbers are full accrual. These are the government-wide numbers, which include all the unfunded pension liabilities and retiree health care liabilities and so forth. So moving on to the next page, here we have the assets and deferred outflows, a little bit of detail of those assets. Capital assets, no surprise, is the largest number at $134 million. The cash is at $46 million. So you see these numbers are a bit higher than they've been in the past. Taxes receivable up a little bit, and those are the main, those most significant numbers on the asset side. Moving on to the liability page, we see the debt at $23 million. So that number is, you can see it's trended down over the 5 years. And numbers that we talked about earlier, the pension liability, the city's participating in that, and their portion of that unfunded liability is at almost $15 million. And the OPEB, retiree health care, that's about $12 million. Another significant number is the landfill closure at $6 million, and so forth. The numbers decreased at that point. We do have subtotals below with and without the unfunded pension liabilities. Are so significant, and sometimes they just really are so large that they kind of, in some ways, they distort the numbers for the city, although they are part of the city's liabilities. Next page is the equity, and on the equity side, the capital assets is the biggest piece of the city's equity at 110. The restricted portion is $20 million. So special revenue funds and things like that, where you're holding monies for certain purposes. And then what's left over is unrestricted at $2.8 million. And just to look at those subtotals below, if the unfunded pension liabilities and so forth were not included in the equity, your unrestricted equity would be at $30 million. Year end. Page 13, the profit loss or change in net position. So the revenues are at $64 million. So you see how those have trended over time. We know it was probably an unusual year just because of all the federal dollars. And the expenses were a little bit more in line at 53 million. So a bit of a restatement because of that new accounting standard, and the profit or changing that position, since it's not a profit company, is 10.8 million for the year. Page 14, or the next page, just a little detail on the type of funding sources. So the charges for services from the governmental activities, 2.1 million, so a little bit lower than last year, but it just seems to trend a little bit up and down there. The operating grants were up at 5.3 million, and capital grants are much higher at 4.6 million. And just to put a little caveat, so this is our first year back at the city, so some of those presentation numbers in the prior year may not be apples to apples because of the way it was presented by other auditors in prior years. Next page, program revenue, business type activities. So we see the charges for services a little bit, well, it's down, it's at 9 million, a little bit lower than the prior years, and you can just see how those trend. And capital grants on the business type activities at 4 million. Other revenues, so GRT is a bit down from the prior year, but just depends on the year we're looking at, as it was overall in the 5-year trend, it's higher. And then we have just other revenue sources, the miscellaneous income, which has just other items besides taxes in there. Property tax at 2.3, so pretty consistent with last year, up a little bit. And then you can see those rest of those numbers there, how they trend. Expenses by type, so just by the overall functions of government and business activity. And so we just see the numbers there and how they trend. Pretty similar, actually. Page 18, the year-over-year comparison by function, public safety, general government, public works, etc. And we just see where those numbers land in the pie chart. So public safety was up significantly. General government was actually less, and so forth. I won't go through the details there. And that's a summary presentation of the audit results, and I can, first of all, thank everyone. Of course, audits are a big project for city, especially the finance department, so we thank Leanne and the rest of the finance department, and I can stop here and entertain any questions or discussion at this point.
Appreciate that, Mr. Venner. Thank you for presenting that to us. And there may be some questions. We'll check with the commission. I'm not seeing any questions. I guess I just wanted to comment that it sounds like a largely positive audit. You mentioned that we received the highest that we could, in that there were, or the rating was unmodified. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling around with that, but you said that you gave us an unmodified, which you mentioned was the highest we could have possibly received. Is that right?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Venner. Well, I would just compliment our city's finance director, Ms. Melanson. Thank you for the great job that you do of managing the city's finances. I'd like to also compliment the city manager and appreciate everything that you do to keep the city's finances in order. As in the last couple of years, we saw the potential for considerable financial strain. We saw municipalities around our state laying people off because they just didn't have the wherewithal to maintain staffing as they went through COVID and so forth. The city of Clovis didn't lay anyone off, and in fact gave raises the last couple of years. And so great job to city management and certainly our finance director on managing the finances. Any comments or questions from the commission?
just want to say, great job, team. Very good. Awesome.
Yes, pass that along to your team. Great point, Commissioner Garza. Very well. We are looking for approval of adoption of resolution number 3111-2022, acceptance and approval of the FY21 audit. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion for approval from Commissioner Garza, second from Commissioner Paula. Commissioners, please vote. And the vote is unanimous, and the motion is carried. Thank you very much. Once again, Mr. Venner, thank you for your patience this evening and your presentation, all the work you did for us in this audit. And again, thank you, Ms. Melanson.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, Commissioners, we rarely have unfinished business, but this evening we do have one item in unfinished business. It is request for approval of the 2022 Clovis-Carver Library Policy Manual. Ms. Hinchy, welcome. We'll give you the floor, Ms. Hinchy.
Good evening, and excuse me, I have a horrible cold. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. In my tenure as the Library Director of Clovis-Carver Library, we have a library policy manual that kind of sets the tone for what we do and our rules that we follow and the way we do our business. And they deal with patron concerns, circulation stuff, patron behavior, dress code, collection development, collection analysis, collection evaluation. So every January, it's my task to ask the library board to review the current library policy manual and ask for revisions. So we did that this year. Unbeknownst to me, the last time this library policy manual was approved was in 1977, and that was before I was born. Not believe it. Anyway, in the 12 years I've been here, there have been very, very few changes, mostly just verbiage. This year, the changes include, there are 3 changes is all. In our rules governing conduct of patrons, there's one about having no food, and I've asked that we change it to having food in study rooms. And then another rule, having guide dogs or therapy dogs. We can, if a person comes in with a therapy animal, and do you know that a miniature horse can be a therapy animal? A library tidbit. You can ask them 2 questions. You can ask, what does a dog or horse or whatever does for them, and what tasks is he assigned to do? If the patron cannot answer those adequately, they are not considered a therapy dog. So in rule number 6, I've asked that to be added to our therapy dog policy. The other consideration I want to ask for approval is our problem patron policy was very long and very filled with verbiage, and I've made that more succinct. I believe this policy manual reflects what we do and what we do well and how we relate to our customers, and I ask for the Commission's approval.
Well, thank you, Ms. Hinchy. We appreciate you bringing this before us this evening. Are there any questions?
Just one, and not a question really, but Ms. Hinchy, I know you spent a lot of time on this and we appreciate it. Mr. Morris has also spent
Thank you.
quite a bit of time going through this and making sure everything is correct. Do you have any concerns whatsoever regarding this policy?
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. No, I don't. My main concern was that there was a lot of prescriptive and unnecessary language about how to deal with patrons that we weren't following. So I just wanted to clean it up and make sure that everything that's in there is something that we actually are teaching and following, and we don't get into a situation where we have policy that we're not following that can lead to problems. And so that's been corrected. I think it's great, and I would recommend that it be approved.
Great, thank you. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, a motion for approval from Mayor Pro Tem Bryant, second from Commissioner Garza. I think you were this.
One.
Okay. Well, it has been moved and seconded that we approve the 2022 Clovis-Carver Library Policy Manual. Commissioners, please vote. And Ms. Henchy, thank you for the great job you do with the library. We appreciate you so much.
It's my passion. Thank you.
And the vote was 8-0. The motion is carried. Thank you. Next, we're on to new business, and after the change to the agenda, we just have the one item, and it is request for approval to appoint one district citizen one. This has been a long meeting. I'm gonna make another run at this. The new business item that we have before us here is request for approval to appoint one District 1 citizen representative, one District 2 citizen representative, and one Curry County resident representative to serve on the Parks, Recreation, and Beautification Committee. Ms. Burrows, do you want to advise on this? Or,
I can, there we go.
please?
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, good evening. Ms. Lisa Pellegrino-Spear, who served District 1, and Mr. Jamal Williams, who's been serving District 2, and Ms. Joyce Gates, who was the county residents. Their terms on the Parks and Recreation and Beautification Committee have expired. The positions were advertised with the media, and Ms. Pellegrino-Spear and Mr. Williams have reapplied to serve for a further term. Ms. Sabra Smith from District 1 and Mr. Jose Munoz, District 2, have also applied to serve, and an election will therefore be needed for those two positions. Just one person applied to serve in the county position to replace Ms. Gates, and that is Mr. Philip Frazee. Philip Frazee, Colonel Frazee retired, who's with us this evening, and he has also applied. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, appreciate that. So, Commissioners, so we have a contest in District 1 and in District 2, but no contest for the county position, which is, our applicant is Colonel Frazee, and I visited with him before the meeting and told him that if he wished, he could speak to us, but he didn't need to because he is the sole applicant. So I'll just simply say thank you, Colonel, for your willingness to serve on the Parks and Recreation Committee, and we look forward to your service there. So for the District 1 spot, we do have two applicants, and we can take them in alphabetical order. We'd love to hear from each of them for just a few minutes. Ms. Pellegrino-Spear.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. Thank you guys so much. We were just fighting on who had to come up here first. So, but I have served on the Parks and Rec Committee for a few years. I enjoy my term on the Parks and Rec Committee. I decided that since we were working with the city on working on the railroad park, it would be the best place for me to serve. We do a lot of beautification efforts downtown and have really enjoyed my time. I think my counterpart here, Ms. Sabra Smith, would be a wonderful addition as well too. So either way, I'm happy to continue to serve, or if it's time to have someone new, I'm completely fine with that as well too. I think she'd be a great addition to the board as well. So I'll leave it in your hands. So.
Thank you, Ms. Pellegrino-Spear. Any questions for Ms. Pellegrino-Spear while she walks away? I guess there were no questions. We appreciate you. Thank you very much. Next, Ms. Sabra Smith.
I didn't wear my tall shoes today. Sorry. Thanks for making the microphone all the way up here. Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners. Sabra Smith and I have applied to be on the Parks and Rec Commission, and I have a child in elementary school. I look forward to her growing up here, having things to do here. I am in conversation with new families that come into town that always look for something to do. So I like the direction that Clovis is going with all of the growth that we have, and I want to be involved, and I want to have a hand in everything. And again, Lisa is great with everything, so I appreciate your vote. That's all I have. Any questions?
Just a moment. Any questions for Ms. Smith?
Just gotta say this is always difficult when you have two great applicants wanting to be on the same board.
Yep, that does make it tough. No other questions or comments? All right, then we will hear from our District 2 applicants. Trying to make sure I take them in order here. Is Mr. Munoz here? Mr. Munoz is not here. Mr. Williams, would you like to share with us on your interest in this position on the Parks, Recreation, and Beautification Committee?
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, Commissioners. Congratulations, new Commissioners. My name is Jamal Williams. I've served on the Parks and Rec Board for 2 terms, I believe. I'm interested in continuing to serve. I utilize the parks in town. I have kids that use them all. Currently, I am the president over at Western Little League over at Potter's Park. We've done a lot of improvements over there. I'm just interested in continuing to help to make everything better, to bring things for kids to do in the community to do, and I'm just willing to serve another term and want to serve another term.
Appreciate you, Mr. Williams. Thanks for all you do on the committee as well as in the community. Any questions or comments for Mr. Williams? Looks like you did great. Thank you. Commissioners, any discussion on this before we have you vote? Procedurally, can I ask for some direction? We have a written ballot for the District 1 and District 2 race. We had 1 applicant for the county, but not a place on the written ballot for the commission to select your vote there. Can I just have you write in Mr. Frazee's name if
Or
you're
we can
voting
just
for
do
him?
it by acclamation.
Acclamation? Okay. All those in favor of appointing Colonel Frazee to the Parks, Recreation, and Beautification Committee signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Congratulations, Colonel. You have been appointed. Okay. Now, unless there is further discussion, let's proceed with filling out our paper ballots.
And Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, please remember to print your name and sign at the bottom of that form. Thank you.
While those are tallied, I say this every time we elect members to boards and committees, but it's true. Thank you for your interest in serving, and whether you're selected or not, keep looking for places to serve because we need you to serve. And it's just important that we have the input from our boards and committees to help this commission shape policy for the betterment of our community. So thank you very much for your service.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, Ms. Sabra Smith has been elected to serve for District 1 and Mr. Jamal Williams for District 2. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Congratulations, Ms. Smith, Mr. Williams. Thank you. And Ms. Pellegrino-Spear, thank you for your service on the committee. You're serving in so many places all the time, and you may actually be relieved to not have one more, but we appreciate you so much. Thank you. All right, Commissioners, we'll move on to reports of boards, officers, and committees. A couple of reports there. The LIDA for Retail Task Force meeting on Monday, March 28th, as well as Monday, April 4th. I could give a brief. I've attended those. I don't sit on the task force, but I've attended those. I think I was at both of those. That task force, and Commissioner George Jones sits on this task force or has served on this task force. Its work is I believe, complete. The meeting on March 28th left just a little bit left to do with some of the language and the policies and procedures that were being discussed, and that was all wrapped up on April 4th, and the vote was taken, and their recommendations, the task force recommendations have been sent now to the Economic Incentive Board that's scheduled to meet next Tuesday, the 12th at 7:30 a.m. Commissioner Jones, would you like to comment on LEDA for Retail Task Force?
Mayor Pro Tem, and Commissioners, I think it was a great task force. We worked really hard, spent a lot of hours the first couple meetings of going through the different scenarios that there might be. And I think we have a really good ordinance and policy and procedures to present to EIB and then on to us at the commission.
Yeah, thanks for that. Thanks for your service there, and I'm very excited to see that moving along, and we'll see how it does at EIB and what they think of it next week, and potentially could have it before you at our next meeting, and I would love it if that's how that works out. Anything to add on that task force?
Yeah,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, and procedurally, what would happen is if it, as it goes through EIB, if they approve, then it would come, the ordinance would come to the commission for action at your next commission meeting, and then a month later, we'll bring the final ordinance and the policies and
adoption.
procedures to you. Yep.
Yeah, great. Thank you for that. Next, we had the Civil Aviation Board meeting on Tuesday. I'm on that board, but unfortunately wasn't able to make it to that because of a conflict. So our airport director, Mr. Harris, is here if he would like to share with us, or we could have the city manager. Come here, Mr. Harris. Come tell us how. Come tell us how the Civil Aviation Board meeting went.
And I was going to save him, but unfortunately he stayed, so.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Temp, and Commissioners. The airport board went, it was basically a catching up, per se, just on all the projects that we got going on. The fencing project is about 75% complete. The airport marking, the lines where the pilots, they follow to get to the runways and to the taxiways, that was completed today, so that project is closed out. We also have the Pappy Lighting project that's going to be starting up June the 20th. And I gave the board a report on our passenger employment numbers, which were, for March was 1,146, bringing our current total to 2,646 employments. And again, we need to get that number to 10,000 so we can receive additional funds from the FAA.
Wonderful. Well, it looks like we're on pace to do that. That's great. Thanks for sharing with us, and thanks for all the hard work you're putting in. We're all very excited about the things going on at the airport. Appreciate you, Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anything to add to that, Mr. Howell?
One other addition that we made, would like to update you on is we did get our grant application in for the terminal project. So we did receive the letter of support from our federal delegation, which was wonderful, and so that has been submitted to the FAA for review. And then we are also still working with Decker Parrish and Sabatini on what that conceptual layout of the new terminal space could look like. Obviously, we switched gears from the remodel of the existing terminal to a whole new terminal building itself. So continue to make efforts on that particular project.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Mr. Howalt, and very exciting to hopefully successfully get that grant. Wanted to mention, Commissioners, that was one of the things that Mr. Howalt and I visited with our federal delegation on when we visited in early March. We told them about our intention to apply for that grant, and we're able to get a joint letter of support from Senator Heinrich, Senator Lujan, and Congresswoman Teresa Ledger Fernandez. And so it's great to have support from the federal level all the way down, and an awesome airport director doing great things at our airport. So again, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Any other reports? Very well. Future agenda items that we need to mention this evening.
The only items that I have so far, Mayor Pro Tem and Commissioners, is an EIB vacancy, amendment to the sign code, Senior Services, and then introduction of that leader ordinance you were discussing a few minutes ago. Thank you.
Very good, thank you for that. So
Mayor?
we'll, yes.
Excuse me, are we going to do committee assignments?
Oh, yes.
At the next commission meeting.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Bryant. Yes, and that.
See the value of experience on the commission?
Tenure.
Yep, very good. Yep, we need to deal with committee assignments, certainly with the new commissioners coming on. Yep. All right, announcement of date, time, and place of city and board commission meetings. Water Policy Advisory Committee will meet at 8:30 a.m. on Monday, April 11th here in the North Annex. The Economic Incentive Board will meet on Tuesday, April 12th at 7:30 a.m. here in the North Annex. Planning and Zoning Commission, 3 p.m. Wednesday, April 13th. Parks, Recreation, and Beautification Committee will meet at 5:30 p.m. on Monday, April 18th. The Finance Committee will meet at 9 a.m. Wednesday, April 20th in the small conference room at City Hall. The Ute Water Commission is meeting at 2 p.m. on Wednesday, April 20th at 418 Main. I guess that's at the COG. And then our next City Commission meeting is Thursday, April 21st here in the North Annex at 5:15 p.m. Thank you, Commissioners. It's a pleasure. We are adjourned.